Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Lundgren.
Welcome to the Rangers Journal.
Evening and welcome to your Rangers Journal podcast on a Wednesday night. Tonight's show is going to be the Tactics Board Live, and we're going to delve into the recently seen 4-2-2-2 formation. Now, a couple of podders with me. You wouldn't know it, just look at the screen. Dylan on the bottom there will be with us shortly. He's just had to run for an errand, but more excitingly, we've got Aaron, brand new podcaster and a wealth of tactical knowledge, which we're delighted to welcome to the journal. Aaron, how you doing, mate?
I'm magic, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. Bit of trepidation coming into the weekend, but probably, not as bad as it has been in recent times. So looking forward to going through the formation tonight and what we might be able to expect for the weekend. Okay, so Aaron, let's start by looking at the Chermiti goal v Hearts. So I'll just pop that up there. Now, you put this together. So I guess firstly, tell us what's kind of happening here. If you explain to people what they're seeing in front of them.
Aye, so this starts with Roskin, which is the number 6 on screen. He's got the ball and he's looking for a pass forward. Chermiti, the number 9, he drops into the space and creates a line of 5. And then Nadiri, you can see the number 10, he moves into the back line to keep the pressure on Hearts' back line. And if you look at the first pass is played into Chermiti, and he quickly lays it off to Toche, number 8, and plays it around the corner for him. And if you can see Skov Olsen's move, he takes Braga into the centre away from Toche, and then that opens up the space for him to play it into Sterling. It was a really well worked move, and more of what we're going to see going forwards.
I think, obviously, when we went over this kind of pre-coming live, I think one of the things that we talked about was the potential benefits of having those kind of week-long training routines now that we're out of Europe. Obviously, not an awful lot happening in the Cup, so it's just week on week. He's getting the time on the training ground to stamp his kind of mark on the team. Do you think that's fair to say, Aaron?
Yeah, definitely. Because when we were in Europe, it was like a couple of days on a training pitch, and he was basically just having to get by on what basically Russell Martin left behind and trying to get the best results. But now he can actually stamp his style on the team with a lot more time on the training pitch, and I think this is going to come together really well for us. If he continues with the strikers, hopefully Nadiri's fit, but
I think one of the things that many fans kind of commented on since Rohl came in, took over, is the level of pragmatism that he's had. So he's not kind of come in and this is how I play and we will not deviate from it, a la Russell Martin before him, who you mentioned, and obviously Wilfried Nancy across the city. Both of them kind of thought their philosophy, I guess, for want of a better word, was the be all and end all. But I think with Rohl, what we've seen is a real pragmatism. Do you think this will be his preferred formation for all games, or do you think that they'll chop and change depending on the opposition?
I think it'll be probably about 80% of the games. I think he's desperately needing the number 6 to be, but we need that in the next transfer window because, Roskin's been stuck there, but he's only there because that's the best that he's got right now. I don't like Roskin playing that deep. I like him higher up the pitch, but he's just going to have to play that until maybe Barron comes back, or we can get another one in the summer, like a Hjertel Dahl or a Silas Anderson, that type of someone like a Steve Davis, basically, somebody that can pick a pass.
someone that can build it from the back rather than kind of. I mean, I guess Raskin is all about the tenacity in his play, whereas you want someone that can pick that pass, don't you? Just a quick question, because again, this is something that we kind of touched on pre-show. Wilfred Nancy Loyal has said we need more width in the team. So would you agree with that statement, firstly? And then secondly, why?
Well, with this system, you're really reliant on your fullbacks, kind of like what Gerrard was, because Moore will come inside and Scott Olsen will come inside, but they'll have dynamic movement where they can peel wide when they need to like unsettle the defence. Like you saw with Chirmity's headed goal, Scott Olsen peeled off to the right and put the ball in. But you're heavily reliant on your wing backs, and it's just a pity we don't have Tava 5 years ago to play on the right, because we've obviously got Romans on the left and he looks real quality on the left hand side. But we need, for balance, you need someone on the right as well, because teams will click onto it that you're continually using the left flank totally, and then you'll burn out Romans and you've got nothing coming down the right. It's easier to defend that way.
It's almost the reverse of what we had a few years back, where we couldn't get anyone going on the left back side, but you had Tav in his kind of peak on the right. So yeah, that's fair. And welcome to the show, Dylan. So thanks for joining us, Dylan. I did explain to folks you had a wee errand to run, but good to have you on. 2 out of 3 on camera, probably no bad. Aaron, you need to get a camera, mate.
No, it's good to be back. It's good to be back on, and hopefully cover some of the pros and cons of playing the 4-2-2-2 system. So I look forward to
magic box, apparently. Okay. Let's have a look then. So, Aaron, I'll come to you again on this. We're talking here about forcing them wide. So, how does the shape of the team kind of combine to achieve that outcome?
So, like what I was saying with Raskin dropping at the defence, that's like a security kind of thing, where you're still seeing the pragmatism of role while we're attacking. We'll attack in like a 3-1-4-2 kind of system, where you've got your 2 strikers, your 2 wing backs high and wide, your 2 10s coming inside, and obviously your pivot just ahead of the 3, and one of your 2 defensive mids, typically being Raskin, dropping into the back 3, and that leaves you rather than Russell Martin, because when he was manager, we were just leaving the 2 centre backs, and quite often they were well inside the opposition half. And like the Bruges goal, for example, you just put the ball in behind and you're in against 2. Like if you're playing 2 wingers and a striker, it's 3-on-2 all the time. So with Raskin dropping back, you're always 3 against 3. It's quite risky, but if you can force the ball wide, then you can get your recovery runs from the centre back and try and slow the play. Kind of like what happened with Suter at Livingston, where you force them wide, but you don't put your foot in. You're just there basically just to slow them down and use a touchline as an extra defender kind of thing.
Fair enough. And now then, before we get going on this one, let's just do a brief explainer, because I imagine a lot of folk will be like me and wondering what the hell a rest defence is. So, Aaron, do you want to cover that off?
Yeah, so like I was saying, when we're on the attack, and if there's a turnover, just say they're defensive mid, just say it's Callum McGregor's got the ball. So he's got the ball. He's got 3 options really to play it to, because everyone else is kind of marked. He can play it in behind, but he's got the left wing, the centre, or the right. But hopefully, if Rohl plays the 4-2-2, we can nullify that. And I really hope he plays Jigga because of his speed. And just basically, you're just trying to slow their play down as much as possible so you can get back in a defensive formation on the transition. Obviously, like see with that image there, Scott Olsen's the number 7. He'll be going to press, So obviously then he'll have to make a decision where he's passing it to, probably in behind, and you're just hoping that your defenders can, well, not hoping, but you're trying to funnel them into an area where it's easy to win the ball back. Against most teams, it'll be really easy to do this, but against Celtic, there's a bit of trepidation because they've obviously got Young and Maeda, and they're rapid.
Yeah, and then you want to add to that, Dylan, because I know we've sat many a time discussing, especially Maeda, but Yang to an extent as well, and that attacking pace.
Yeah, I think that's what you give up playing that formation. As Alan says there, imagine we've just turned the ball over here, because, like you said, in possession we're playing that sort of three at the back with a one in front, with a four and the two. So, and that's sort of what you're seeing here: the three at the back, your eight in the middle, your four, and then your two strikers. So if we've just turned the ball over here in transition, I mean, with Cal McGregor, if he's the number 8 on the ball there, for me, I think he just clipped that down the line, and it's either going to be Giga or Suter who's up against. It'll probably be Maeda on the left wing. Again, you're going to have central runners from Celtic. You're going to have runners from wide, but you'll also have the fullbacks coming inside. So I think Celtic's fullbacks coming inside in the middle of the park to flood that as well. That's how they play. So I think it's going to be tricky. We really need to sort of, if we do turn the ball over, we really need to go and, for me, if you don't win that sort of first contact, go and win that first press, then you're going to need to try and play some of these players offside, depending on how close they are to their back line. If they're sort of touch tight with defenders, then can we step up a wee yard or two and try and catch them out? Or do we give ourselves 3 or 4 yards? I think that's sort of the part I worry about most is just on the transition. And we'll see that when we come into some of the videos. When Hearts catch on the transition, they play it quite cute. They make angles to each other, and then they try and release their quicker players. So we'll see that when it comes to it. But yeah.
So moving on then, let's have a look. We've got some stills from the Hearts games just before we jump into these videos. So Dylan, I'll stick with you for this one. Just talk us through what we're seeing here and why you wanted to highlight this one.
So again, you're seeing here, you're sort of 3 at the back, where you're 1 in front of them, which is Raskin in this case. And then you've got, for me, what I wanted to highlight was how many players we have on Hearts' last line. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the picture, and then Romans off the picture, just sort of bottom left, that's giving you width as well. And that's where it can work. Now, if we try and play a risky ball here, and we've seen it for Hearts' first goal, and he sort of Raskin, he turns his back, Hearts have got the middle of the park flooded there. But, and we'll also come to it, if you play the right ball, then you can work your way out it pretty well, and you've got numbers in the final third. So that's just what we wanted to touch on with that still there. How many players are on Hearts' last line? It really gives Hearts a lot to think about. You can see the defender pointing as well to seeing who's sort of picking him up. And again, we just have to be really, really crisp with our passing and make sure that we're executing them properly. Against Livy, I thought, and against Hearts as well, to a point, I thought some of the passes first half are really, really poor. Passing them 2 and 3 yards away from our teammates, passing them out the park. So hopefully it's something that Danny Rohl works on training during the week.
It's fair, and I think sort of to sum up what Dylan's saying there, Aaron, I think basically it's high risk, high reward. If it comes off and your passing's on point, then you've got an awful lot of attacking players there and potentially at least a man 3. However, if you lose the ball, the danger suddenly flips the other way. Would you expect us to be this aggressive v Celtic, or do you think that Rohl will have them kind of pulled back a little bit for that one, Aaron?
I'm not really expecting it to be this much. I think the fullbacks will be in the build-up. They'll be a bit deeper. Just because it's Celtic. I mean, I know Hearts are top of the league, but Celtic are a different beast to Hearts, really. I know they're not really that great just now. But I would expect them to play two strikers with their injury crisis or suspension crisis at the centre back. But yeah, I'd expect the fullbacks to be a bit deeper against Celtic on the build-up anyway. And then once you get secure possession, then you can say maybe one of your fullbacks goes up while the other one stays maybe like inside, like beside Raskin kind of thing. Like say like that picture there, say Sterling was beside Raskin and you've got more like a 3 and a 2.
Yeah.
And then you've got Romans up the left. I think that's more likely to be what we'd do against Celtic.
And Dylan, onto the second picture, which hasn't got the graphics on it, but do you just want to talk us through here what we're seeing, and two, I guess, what the potential options are in this space?
Yeah. So here you've got, I think it's Mikey Moore. It's passing the ball back to Fernandes, right, at the bottom of your picture. Now, for me, this is where a couple of things that can happen. So I'll try and talk you through it. Is Mikey Moore's passing it back to Fernandes. I'm looking for Skov Olsen. Now, Sterling's the furthest player wide right for Rangers, and Skov Olsen's the next one sort of in the field. If he comes short to the sort of centre circle kick-off spot, as the ball's played into Fernandes, and Fernandes can play it first time into him, Chukwueze, who's again in the middle of the park, can then spin in behind, and that's how you would break out of that sort of press, right? Now, if Skov Olsen comes short and the man's really tight on him, then the ball's out to do John Sterling, whether it's a lofted pass or whether it's just a daisy cutter. And again, you've got sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 players who are running into the box on a almost a counter attack. So again, that's just what we want to touch on there. The space in the middle of the park there for Skov Olsen to come in and play, and we'll show you, later on in the video where he does drop in and plays it, links it with Chermiti really well. I'm definitely playing him against Celtic. I think he gives you enough work rate as well. He tracks back a lot as well. So again, if you imagine the pass back to Fernandes into Skov Olsen's feet, he can either play Chukwueze, who's making that third man run, it would be, or Fernandes can go and find Sterling, who's in acres of space there, and you're looking for your two strikers to get in the box and go on the end of it.
That makes sense. And just lastly in this set, this is slightly different to the other two. Here we're looking at the defensive side rather than the attacking side. So Dylan, I'll come to you first again on this one. Yeah,
so again, it's just a transition. Hearts win the ball back. They release Chesnikov, I think his name is, and you've basically got, this is where Aaron's talking about where Raskin drops in. So Raskin's sort of going to press the ball. You've got Fernandes in the middle. You've got Suter, Martin Braga, and you've got Sterling over the other side. Obviously, because we've been caught in transition, Romans is high. Chukwueze, I think, went to press Beningame and has either not got there or have played it round him. And you've essentially got a 4v4 here. Now, the worry is that that's Yang on the ball with Maeda on the far side running in, with their striker running in, and either, I don't know who that would be, Nygren or Oxlade Chamberlain in that 10 role. Again, that's a 4v4, and it's only 14 minutes into the game. So like you said, Dave, earlier on, it is high risk, high reward. If we don't get the press right and don't win first contact, second balls, then that's potentially what could happen. And it happened a couple of times. This is just one example. It did happen a few times against Hearts where they looked like they were maybe one pass short or one touch short of getting into a really good position. Here, nothing comes from it, I don't think, that I can remember. But again, it's just it's a warning sign of playing that sort of that 4-2-2-2.
Aaron, is this potentially where your kind of fullbacks holding a bit further back helps to kind of start trying to nullify this scenario where potentially you're man on man?
Yeah, well, I think that's Sterling at the top of the screen. I would expect. I don't know if he's going to be fit, but I would expect Sets Tav. I would expect him to be a bit more defensive, knowing he's not got the legs to come back, and Romans to be the more attacking one because he's obviously a bit younger and he's fresh. Maybe Chukwueze, instead of pressing, he'll be a bit deeper as well. But this is what the kind of thing that you can be up against. And as Dylan said about Maeda and Young. You don't want to be giving them a lot of space to run into. But if they do get it like this, you need to try and funnel them out wide and get your recovery runners back quickly. So the middle of the pitch, whoever's on in the middle of the pitch is going to have an engine to get forward and back as soon as we need it to stop the attacks.
Sense. Okay, so on to the videos. So let me just pull this one up. So you can see here, this is us playing out from the back. Now, Dylan, I'll come at you first. We've obviously highlighted the two CDMs. So do you just want to talk us through what's happening here?
Yeah, so again, it's really early in the game, and I think Danny Rohl's intention here was to get Hearts to bite on the press, to go and really press and try and catch them out. Now, you sort of the front four press, and then the rest of them don't, which is fine. But you can see here you've got Suter, Fernandez on the ball, and Raskin's now at left back. Chukwueze drops really, really deep as well. Now, again, this is to invite them to allow the space that we're going to see Skov Olsen and Chermiti take up. So again, watch the pass into Skov Olsen. This is where we talked about the still earlier on, where if he comes into the middle of the park and Chukwueze runs in behind, can he play that? This time it's Chermiti that comes in and likes to play with Skov Olsen. So again, it's good, but again, and this is one of the ways that you can go and play through the press here, even though it's not really, they're sort of, like I said, they're half pressing because they're not closing down the ball, but they're also not really allowing Rangers to get any further up the park. And with your two centre mids dropping so deep, that opens up the pitch for one of your strikers to drop in and go and link the play, and that's what happens.
I'll play it on and we'll just see that in effect. So you can see the amount of space in the middle, and you can see the arrow here showing where Skov Olsen's kind of cut in more towards the middle.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned, Dylan, it's a fairly strong pass from Chermiti. He's not got much option because the boy's hot on his heels, but he does play quite a firm pass and it's quite well controlled. So just play that on. You see he lays it back in. And then we've highlighted Mikey Moore's run. Now, ultimately, this doesn't come to anything because there's an interception, but potentially, as Dylan said, in the first 10 minutes, you've then got a player through on goal. Let me just play this on so you can see what I mean. You can see, I reckon there's every chance that Mikey Moore actually just keeps going, keeps the ball. There's defenders around him, but I wouldn't say they're in a great position to intercept him. And, potentially that is a goal opportunity. Just before we drop on the second one, we've had a question. It's probably going to be on a lot of folks' minds, so I'd be really interested to get both your take on this. I'll come to you first for this one, Aaron. So Glasgow Rangers are saying we need more control in game. I'd get the flat three in there, especially against them. So I guess firstly, you seem to be quite an advocate for the 4-2-2. Why do you think that's the formation as opposed to a flat three to try and seize control of the midfield there?
I just think you put more pressure on their defence and you make them worry about us more than... Because, I mean, you've tried to control the midfield before in a three and it's just been passed around or they've went down the wings. And that's the problem with if you play a three in midfield, you need to have lateral movement to cover a wing. Whereas if you try and focus on the middle, you've got your two wingers coming in. But as I said, one of your wingers can pop out. So say if Moore stays in the left 10 role, Skov Olsen can pop out to the right wing or vice versa. I think it's really flexible, the 4-2-2. And I think it actually gives us more control than if we had three. I know everyone likes to think you've got more numbers in midfield, you've got more control, but sometimes the opposite's actually true. I know it worked second half against Nancy's team, but this isn't Wilfred Nancy's Celtic team anymore. It's Martin O'Neill's, so it's going to be a bit more pragmatic and a lot harder to cut through than Nancy's team was.
Fair, mate. And Dylan, would you agree with what Aaron said there? Do you favour the 4-2-2, or are you a bit more of a old school flat three in the middle?
I'm torn, Dave. I really am. I think the 4-2-2 is the best way to attack Celtic and to score goals. However, the way Celtic play, I think I would be more inclined to go a 3 in the middle. And I know what Alan's saying. I just think going man for man, it's safer defensively. But if you imagine imagine that front line's that 5 and Celtic win the ball back there, the middle of the park's going to be freeze. It's going to be like an empty park for them to go and play and run into it. And it's not just that. You've then got the Celtic's fullbacks who like to come inside as well and go and flood the park even more. Mikey Moore isn't really going to track back that well, I don't think. So again, it's a tough one. I know what he's saying, but I'm not told about it. I would probably go between the two of them, Dave, if I'm honest. I don't know what one I'd start with. I'd maybe start with the treble 2, and then if you're sort of 2 up, then maybe go a wee bit more pragmatic and go man for man in the middle. Again, I just think if everybody turns up, I don't really think it should matter what formation we play. If you turn up and you work hard and you're not passing the ball at the park like we've seen against Livy, you're taking your chances and you win the game. I know that sounds very obvious to say, but how many times it's been like that? Do you know what I mean? First half we never turned up against Celtic. The second half we ran them off the park. So I don't really. He never really changed much formation wise that day. It was just more a wee bit sort of tactics, but it was more work rate and energy that we saw. So I would probably go 2 of them, mate, to be honest with you. But I'm absolutely not against it. If it goes a 4-2-2-2 or if it goes a 4-3-3, then I'll not be too much. I'm always too much over it.
Just quickly, Dylan, would you take the hybrid and go, like I said, with one of the fullbacks staying a bit deeper and maybe playing a bit narrower into the midfield for more security?
I mean, it's an idea, but I think then you're also inviting their wingers to come in there with you. So, like I know what you're saying. If you drop Sterling or Romans or Tav, whoever it is, a bit more conservative, then that means that their wingers like Yang and Maida aren't getting pinned back on their own backline. So I think that if you're going to go to 4-2-2, I think playing them higher would benefit because wingers don't like to defend. But if you're sort of holding half, you're inviting them. They're already there then if they do win the ball back to go and link to play. So again, it's a tough one, mate. I know what you're saying. It's an option, isn't it, to have your sort of fullbacks a wee bit more conservative, or at least one of them. If we pick up the left and the right one comes in, if we got right, the left one comes in. So but like I said, mate, I think if the players turn up, we win the game.
Okay, let's have a look at the second video that we've got then. So I'll drop this up nice and quick. Again, we're playing out from the back, but this time it's a wee bit different. So instead of trying to find that pass through the lines and looking for a dropping striker, obviously we're using the wing this time. So Dylan, we've highlighted this space. You just want to talk us through that?
Well, you can see the difference in Hearts' press, and I think that was intentional. They thought we nearly get caught out there. And this is only it was 7.5 minutes the last clip. This is only 12, so not a lot of time's passed. And we can see that we're now sort of allowing our backline to come up the pitch a wee bit more on the ball rather than try and keep us in our own box because, as you've seen, the middle of the park was wide open. So here, they're trying to offer us the wings. So they're sort of shutting the middle of the park down because we nearly broke through. And again, Rangers do well here. Raskin's dropped in. Chukman is in there. So you've got your 3 at the back, as Aaron showed you in the tactics pictures, and you're 1 in front. This time, I think that for me, Suter could have been a wee bit or got a wee bit higher and wider quicker. And we can, if the balls, again, I still feel like we're dilly-dallying a little bit on it and try to make up our mind what to do with it. If Raskin gets the ball out to him quicker, we can go and attack quicker here. But again, Hearts are offering you the width. Raskin plays out to Suter, who plays it up the line to Sterling, and a game and nearly get in. So there's different options with having that 4-3-2 formation. So again, it's something that I expect the manager to have worked on during the week. All week, I'm expecting him to be drilling this quite a lot, mate.
So let's play this one on, and we'll see exactly what you're talking about. So that's up the centre, plays past the defender. Drop that back sec. So we've highlighted the two Rangers players here. Aaron, do you just want to talk us through these two and why we've highlighted them?
Aye, so Skov Olsen's movement, I'm pretty sure this is the one where he drags away the centre mid, and you can play the
That's
ball.
him there near the centre circle.
You can play the ball through to him, or you can play the ball up the line. It's just
Yeah, I mean, Skov Olsen coming in there, for me, it allows that space for the sort of pass up to Sterling as well. Do you know what I mean? You've got a Adelia who's offering you the height and the length of the team as well. And it's hard. Skov Olsen's been man-marked by that Harry Milner, who's a left-back. He's now finding Sterling in the middle of the park. So again, it's where defenders don't want to be, you're dragging them into. And again, it's sort of one pass up the line that almost takes them out. It's a good pass, but it's also a poor pass for me. It could have been executed a lot better, especially with the Suitors not under a lot of pressure. But again, it just doesn't quite come off.
And I think this is
I
think this is a big reason why Hearts went to a back three in the second half, because Derek was getting anxious with the movement, the dynamic movement of Skov Olsen moving in and moving about the defenders, and you saw that for the Chimmerty headed goal. They were getting kind of confused as to who's marking who and what was going on.
And Dylan, you wanted to call this out. I think the one that always jumps out to me just now is that time when we were playing, I think it was Hibs, and Bayrami kind of drove up on the right-hand side, hit the edge of the box, and there was literally nobody in it. So for me, it's quite refreshing seeing this, notwithstanding that obviously, again, it needs to be controlled. But just speak about this a wee bit, mate. Why you think, beyond the obvious, that it's so important?
Yeah. I mean, you've just got numbers in the final third, and again, at the end of the day, that's what you want. Now, I would like us, like you said, to have a wee bit more control of this and keep this up, rather than it being a sort of one phase of attack or a one phase of attack. And we've seen it sort of second half with Hearts, where every time we got the ball, we got into these areas and there was more people in the box. Again, there's 6 attackers here in the final third. You've got Nadia on the edge of the box, Skov Olsen's at the corner, Chimiti's sort of man for man there, and then you've got Romans coming into the back post and acres of space, and then Mikey Moore sort of hovering at the edge of the box. Now, if you think back to what our defence would look like just now, you're sitting with Chukwueze, Shooters on the wing, and you've got Raskin and Fernandez. So again, if the ball breaks here, we're in a good position to deal with it. But that's just because of how many bodies we've got forward and how many bodies Hearts are having to pull back to defend against it.
Makes sense. Okay, let's jump to the next video. So I'll just pop that up. Okay, so start us off, Dylan. We've obviously highlighted these 3 now. For those that do watch regularly, you'll actually have seen something like this before, because Dylan and I did a show prior to the last Old Firm, and we called out these kind of small triangles that the Hearts players get into. But Dylan, tell us about what we're seeing here, mate.
Yeah, so we play a sort of long ball. Hearts win the first header, and this is what they're really good at. If you do try and sort of play long against them or try and put it up to a striker, they always sort of win that first contact. Now, as they're winning the first contact, Braga's really switched on to come short. I think it's obviously Derek McInnes worked on it, and as he comes short, he's facing his own players who can go and bounce the ball off of. It's all sort of one touch. It's done really, really well. It's all compact as well. As you can see, Suitors came short with Braga. That's where the balls went. But he's got 2 options here. I know there's Rangers players in the vicinity, but they're not really. They're a yard or 2 away. And again, Hearts break out here, and this is sort of one of the one of the times where I think if you've got a quicker winger or better players, quality players like Celtic do, that you can go and hurt you. So again, balls into Braga, he plays it first time, he spins in behind, and Hearts managed to break. And again, it doesn't come to much, but this is at 1-0, they're up here. I think if they had better players, they would go and hurt us more in this situation. And that's a worry with playing that formation.
So obviously they keep the ball. Nice wee first time pass. This is a real life example of something that Aaron showed you on the tactics slides at the start of the show. So I'm just going to pull that up really quickly before we come back to the video. So you can see here where he's indicated that your kind of right-sided defender very much wants to force them out wide. And the aim of that is to try and slow down the attack. Now, if I just pull the video back up, just run it back to where it was paused. That's literally what we've done there, is we've pushed him out to the wings, and that's allowed time for Rangers to get runners back. So, Aaron, talk us through that as a tactic and, you know, what you need to do to make that work as a defender.
Yeah, so this is why I would go with Giga over Suter, notwithstanding what happened at Livingston, because I think he's got the extra pace where he can match the run for long enough where the winger has doubts in his mind, and then you need to cut back and look for support, and by that time, hopefully the blue shirts are flooding back to help. And I'm pretty sure this is an example of the ball being turned over after the wingers cut back to look for support. It's the easiest way to defend, really. The way that the defensive rest defense is set up is to force them wide and hope that your blue shirts come back to support in the transition.
Dave, can I come in there?
Yeah. So we can see there, ball's turned over, as Aaron said. Go for it, Dylan.
Aaron, see if that is a Maeda, do you think he cuts back there? That's my only worry. If it happens on the other side with Yang as well. Well, I think that was Braga that cuts back, but you also have Hearts don't really flood players forward. It's more a 3v3, but I think in that scenario when Maeda's on the ball, you'll have Celtic's 10 in their 2 8s or 6 and 8, whatever you want to call them, going forward as well. Because their fullbacks will come in the park and sort of sit as A2 holding midfielders. So do you think that, I don't think Maeda stops it, I think he just knocks the ball and goes. And then Celtic, it gets to the byline, Celtic are in our box and at the edge of our box. That's more my worry. And it's only because you're playing such quick players. I know you said you bring in Giga for that, but do you think Giga solves that issue there?
Well, I think on the other side it might be a bit of a problem because I think Young's technically better than Maeda. Yeah. I think Maeda is just like run for the hills, but and he's not really great technically, so he would maybe try and run, but you're thinking that he's under pressure, maybe he has a loose touch, and then the defender can, before he's up to full speed, defender can nick in front of him and get the ball or knock it out for a throw-in. If it's on the other side be Young, I think he's a lot more technically gifted, so it might be a bit more of a problem, but then I would expect Romans
so it's not in the vid.
Back.
Yeah, it's not in the vid, guys, but how would you counter that? Because as you say, for a long time we've all kind of lived in fear of Tavernier v Maeda. Realistically, that probably isn't the only battle that we need to be concerned with, is it?
No, well, Dave, the problem you've got there is it's probably going to be like it all depends, right? If Celtic are building up and we're not in possession of the ball, then it's different. You've got a back four sitting. You've got Chukwueze and Raskin, and you've got your 2 wingers and your 2 strikers. So probably one will drop into the sort of Cal McGregor role, right, to try and defend. If we turn the ball over, that's different because you're going to have Sterling push high. That wasn't Braga against Sterling there. It was Braga against Suter, and Fernandes had to come across to cover. So that's your lay centre half covering it right back because we've flooded players forward. That's the worry for me. Again, if Hearts manage to get a ball and switch out there, I don't know if Romans is back in the picture. I don't really know where he is or what that would look like. But that is the worry now. Fernandez does really well, but Braga's not the quickest, so it's not like he's going to keep taking him down the line. He tries to cut back and find a pass, and it gets snuffed out with, like Alan says, are recovering defenders. So again, it's all about the transition for me. I think if Celtic play it for the back, I think we're more than capable of having our back four or two centre mids and working it that way. But it's when we turn the ball over, when we play that slack pass and Celtic start to flood forward, it's how we react to that. And again, that's you're essentially defending with a back three against Celtic's front three, and you're going man for man. You see that in Aaron's and his tactics thing as well. It's a 3v3. So I understand the question earlier. That's the risk you go and take with playing that. But again, to counter it, Dave, you have to win that first contact. That Braga comes on and wins against Suter, you have to go and win that first contact, or even bring them down and get a foul, whatever it is, up in the middle of the park. You can't let them play that first contact, second contact, and then they play the ball down the line.
See, I think, what you were saying with Nygren, I think that Chukwani is going to be really, and I've been really impressed with him, especially just his intelligence, where he positions himself, and on transitions, he's quite good. I've been watching him about where he positions himself for transitions as well, and always making sure that he's in a place he can be effective. So I think he would be able to pick up Nygren, no bother. But at the start of the game, I can see this. The first 20 minutes on Old Firm's like it's quite frantic. I can see us maybe having both fullbacks being conservative to start off with, and then you've got the 4 and the 2 and just the 6 defensive structure, and maybe playing for set pieces first 20 minutes. And then the more you get into the game, the more adventurous you can be. I can see that being applied by Rohl, because as you said at the start, he is quite pragmatic, and he has been since he took over. I can definitely see that at the start of the game.
Let's finish off this. I think it was just the break forward, wasn't it? So let's jump to the last one quickly. We'll go through that and then we'll wrap things up. So here we are. Okay, Dylan, this one gave you sleepless nights, apparently. Why? I say why, it's pretty obvious why, but talk us through it anyway, mate.
Yeah, so again, it's I was sort of losing the ball in transition. Beningame, you can see Hearts here have got a 4v2. Now, if the pass is better, and it's not, and I know it's all sort of ifs and buts, right? But if the Hearts player there, I don't know if it's Kabori or something, takes the ball under control and turns, we're in a real problem. Even if he lays it off to the next centre mid beside him, again, we're in a real problem. And I think that's luck for me that he's not took that ball under control. Maybe he's not been on his toes. Maybe it's been a bad pass. But again, you've only got Fernandez and Suter here. You've got Chesnikov, Braga, and Kizarides running in behind. Chukwani's man running off him. Raskin's went to press the ball, but he's been too far away from Beningame to go and. So he either needs to hold his position there and just sort of block off that pass and allow Hearts to have possession in front of him, or he has to be there as the ball comes to Beningame to win it. Again, Hearts win the first ball, they play the second ball. But, and this is where we're going to flip it on our head, if this does happen and Celtic start to break, Cam, I know he doesn't take a good enough touch here, but if Fernandez gets closer and wins the ball, you'll see what happens from then on, because we have flooded players up the park. So Fernandez wins the ball.
It's Fernandez picking it up. Lovely first time pass there. And suddenly, ball's heading the other way. Yeah. Aaron, we've obviously highlighted that wee triangle of Hearts players with Mikey Moore slap in the middle. Do you want to speak a bit about why we've highlighted that, mate?
Aye, so Mikey Moore here, this is what a top player does. This is why Mikey Moore is going to be one of the top players in Europe, because he gives Hearts defenders all a problem here. He could run in behind, or he could just come short for a layoff, but that only gives like one of them a decision to make, whereas he's given all three of them a decision to make by just staying in the middle. It looks basic, but it's really top level football intelligence. because the centre mid doesn't know if, well, he's got to keep tracking him. And then there's a player beside him that's in between the two centre mids. He's making a run forward. I think that's Raskin. And then the centre back, he's obviously got to drop. He's got a problem with Nadiri and Moore. And then the full back can't go and press Romans because he's got to deal with Moore as well. So Moore's basically made this goal here. And then, as you said about quick passing earlier on, what that was in the build-up, but Moore's got the intelligence to just lay it into space and Romans bombs on it. And if you play it on and he gets on the end of it and clips a ball in.
There's a little 1-2.
Just really clever from Moore. It's really good game awareness.
Now, we've highlighted Nadiri here because we're all quite impressed when we're going through this. Dylan, talk to us about Nadiri and his intelligence, I guess, as well.
Yeah, so again, Mikey Moore does brilliant to just stay in that wee pocket of space. He knows Romans is going to go beyond. He's just, like Aaron says, giving the three defenders free Hartspur something to think about. Plays a great 1-2. Nadiri here starts his run to go back post, and that creates the space for him then to go front post. So keep your eye on Nadiri. But as he's doing that, because he goes back post, front post, it's just really good striking movement. It opens up the sort of space for Trinmiti to go and get his head on the ball. Now, he doesn't score from it, but I think if there's more Hartspurs, and if Halkett's in there and Nadiri stays where he is just now, then maybe Halkett gets the flick on by Trinmiti, or he doesn't get as easy a header on it. So again, Trinmiti's movements, it's okay, comes into the middle from sort of wide into the middle, but it's Nadiri here who makes it the goal for me. And take nothing away again for Romans' ball in. He knows exactly what he's going to do. His head's up, and he just clips into that back post area for Trinmiti to go on the end. It's brilliant run, brilliant ball. Yeah, not much more you can say, mate.
Right, let me play that on just so everyone can see what we're talking about. So we quick dart to the front. Obviously, it goes back, and Trinmiti gets the contact. And eventually...
Yeah, as well there, Dave, Mikey Moore doesn't just stand outside the box. Once he's played the pass, he follows it in and he sniffs out the danger. Trinmiti, his ball comes back off the bar. Mikey Moore's there. He's not still at the edge of the box, just ball watching, I think. You get that for a lot of wide players that maybe they don't follow that in there. Whereas, like you said, his game awareness is very good. He does really well know to snatch at it. He hits into the ground so that it pops up for the goalie. So again, it's just really good. A really good team goal. But it could have very well been flipped on its head and Hearts could have been through 4v2.
Fine margins, as they say.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think everyone's probably had enough for one night. So thank you very much for everyone that has tuned in tonight. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Pod was brought to you by the Bluebells Bar in Lanzarote. I can't say I've visited myself, but our gaffer has, and he says they looked after him supremely well. Games on the telly, basically everything a Rangers fan could ask for abroad. So thanks to them for the sponsorship. Dylan, thanks for joining us again, mate. Been a pleasure.
Aye.
And Aaron, hopefully you get a camera soon, so folk don't have to just see a black screen, but it was a real pleasure to have you on, and really good first pod for you, mate.
Aye, cheers, mate. Hopefully the Rangers win at the weekend.
Well, that would make it perfect, wouldn't it? Okay, well, thanks for listening, everyone. And for now, every night's a Rangers Journal now.
Every night is the Rangers Journal now.